guys? Tim Halstead here for episode 24 of Building Up the 408 Cleveland. So here's where we're at. The last time I was here in episode 22, I was setting up the installed height of the springs, the pack springs I got from Market Bullet Cams. Did all the installed height. I had a range of 1.945 and 1.960, and the majority of them, I'd probably say 95% are all at 1.96. None are on the far end of either range, but it took me like easy 10 hours to do it, maybe 11. It's just tedious, and with what I was using, and I double checked it probably 15 times because I'm not gonna, I don't want to make a mistake. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start putting the head on. We're gonna get ready to check the piston and valve clearance. So what I did is I put the studs all in, and if you know with the A3 heads, or if you had the old high port Cleveland head, you know you'd probably need a longer stud because you're raising that port up, and that's how the Ford Motorsport heads are. Whether I think they're all the same. You know, they'll have the raised exhaust ports, so they're all a little bit longer studs there. But here's the gasket I got. This is my old gasket. I was going to reuse it, and then when I started putting this thing together and with the head work, I said I'm not reusing it. For the cost of the head gaskets, I'd rather just have that out of my, just for better peace of mind. But we all know with the Cleveland, remember that hole needs going in the front. I've seen it a million times, put the gasket on like this, blocks up, the thing heats up that water hole. So make sure you put that on correctly. Now this gasket, I want to say, is like 041, I think. So I got my heads here. They got the checking springs. We'll get this all set up. Nice. And I'll start assembling the first rocker arm setup. Probably have to make the engine stand a little bit less tilted. Just secure this on so I don't end up having to drop off or something. I'll reposition it. These are the 12-pointed ARP fasteners. All right, so I got the head on here. I put the head on, and I snugged up a bunch of the studs. Here's the lifters I'm putting in, Crane Ultra Pros. And on the back here, on the head, you can't see it, but there's a bar here that Rody had made, which makes it nice to put the dial indicator on, to mount it on here. So, you know, obviously with aluminum head, you got to go out somewhere on the block. This just makes it nice and convenient. Now I put on the first fulcrum for the Yella Terra rockers. That's what I use. And in my case, when I took this all apart, I put everything in Ziploc bags and labeled it. It makes it so much easier to have to deal with stuff. And it keeps everything clean too. I don't even know what these push rods are. These are CV products. And here's the rocker arm here. This is Yella Terra. I tell you, I used to use the, you can kind of see it here. Harlan Sharps, I've used, I think Cams had them, a bunch of different roller rockers. But I just got tired of messing around. Once you get up to high spring pressures and you start twisting some RPMs, it's just a pain to have to deal with the stud girdles. you know, to adjust the valves and go through all that BS. I just can't stand messing around with those. This, you don't need any guide plates with these rockers. These are the Platinum series. You don't need any stud girdles. And I twist this thing like you know by the videos, 8200 all the time, no issues. So I don't really like the way these are secured. I think there could be a better way, but definitely with DragBoss, I think I'm going to have a shaft type rocker system, T&D or Jessel. So we got that in there. That's pretty good. And we'll loosen up the adjuster. Here's the intake setup here. Now previously with this motor, I had set it up for the geometry with the cam, so it should be all good. I've kept all the shims together. But here's what you have to do with these to change the rocker arm position on the valve tip. Add a shim to it. Same with Jessel, I think they have shim type stuff to adjust for their geometry. Flight, this is for you. Just have one little love tap there. And these push rods are, this is 135, the other one's 80 for the intake, 80 thousandths. I don't know if this latch cap would go on here. Let's see. Let's put it on here. Yep. Leave it on there. That's the way it is. And I like to check the tips, make sure they roll good without any issues. So this is snug it down nice. So I got the rocker arms on here. Let's get this thing on compression on number one. That'll be top dead center. You know, I don't have the head gasket tight, but let's see if we can get some compression out of this thing. Oh yeah, listen to that. And that's not even tight with the head gasket on there. So that's nice. And I know that I checked before when I was degreeing the cam that I checked to make sure this balancer is on top dead center when it is. And it is. So that makes it nice. And I know that that's accurate. So let me adjust the lash on here. So what I'll do is I'll get this kind of snugged up and we'll check it in regards to the lash. Kind of just bring it together real nice and easy to get rid of it a little bit. And then we'll turn it over. Get a better idea where we are. So let's see. We're going to turn this over with the exhaust opening, then we'll adjust the intake. So there it's opening right now. Which, you know, these are checking springs. It isn't going to be very much, I can tell you that. Whoa. It's a little loose, so we'll tighten it up a little bit more. It's different when there's no spring prep, you know, the weak springs. I'm going to call that good. So then we're going to keep going until the intake is 3/4 closed. It's almost open now. Now it's coming back up. And that's probably about 3/4 closed there. So we can adjust this guy here. And like I said, with these checking springs, you don't have to tighten them up much to get your clearance. Like I said, with these checking springs, it doesn't take much to depress them. I'd say that's good. And I set this at 16. Well, here's where we're at. I adjusted up the rocker arms. I think I put them at 16 thousandths just to check the piston to valve clearance. And actually when I got back, we're grabbing some lunch. Rody had already had it done, wrote everything down. So the clearances came out to 140 thousandths on the intake and 62 thousandths on the exhaust. So I'm good with that. It had that before. I think it was only 60 thousandths previously. That's what it works out to, so I think we're going to be okay with that. So now what I'm going to do is start undoing the head, take that off, get the rocker arms off and the checking springs, and then put on the valve seals and start getting the heads back together. And then we'll put this thing back together probably next week. He's going to Indy, leaving tomorrow, so won't have time to get this thing done until next week. It's not a big deal, but I'm glad that it's going together well without any issues at this point. So stay tuned, and we'll keep following this saga along, and hopefully we can get this thing in the car when Reher-Morrison comes back to Ohio somewhere around July 8th, I think he was saying. So it'd be nice to, if I don't have it in, have him help me put it in just like we took it out. That would be pretty damn cool.